you know, just still pray for your girl. Still pray for your girl. That I match with any of these sites. They're all great sites. Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. This is Chelsea here. If you're new, I'm a clinical psychology doctoral student in the 3rd year of my program. The girl is almost done. And as you can tell by the title, I'm going to be speaking about how I prepared for my APPIC interviews and then the ranking process. So I want to show you guys the documents that I used that helped me in my preparation process along the way. So let's get into the video. Okay, so in the preparation stage, what I did before my interviews was reviewing the program's website and their training manual, just so I could remember like the things that were important to them that stuck out to me. And I usually did this the night before. And I also went to this pros and cons document that I had created even before I did interviews for all the sites that I was applying to. So I'll show you guys what the pros and cons document look like right now. Okay, so the training goals are what I came up with first to determine my pros and cons. So for me, I was looking to work on trauma treatment modalities during my internship. So sites that had that, those would be noted as pros. I also wanted to focus on doing comprehensive psychological evaluations. And so rotations for trauma or assessment were key things that I was looking for because that's what I want to do on my internship. And I also wanted some training in multicultural competence and being able to do outreach with the Black population on campus. So if a site met these training goals, they were added as pros, and any other thing that I liked about the site were added in the pros column. And if they did not meet those training goals that I wanted to get, then they would go on the cons, and anything else that I didn't like would go in the cons. So this is the little document that I created. And I just changed the names of the sites to, you know, by numbers just to keep it confidential or whatever. But I did 15 sites in this document, but the last site I had swapped it out for the 14th one. So if you guys know, I only applied to 14 sites, but this is a document that I used for my ranking process. So the more pros that a site had and less cons, the higher they were ranked. So you'll be able to see like a trend, like less cons on the right, they were higher ranked. So that's pretty much how I use this document. The next thing I did was review the cover letters that I wrote for the specific site, just so I could recall what it is that I said I liked most about the site. And also to remind me of the types of groups, seminars, and rotations that they had, so it could be fresh in my mind. And it also would prepare me for the questions that I was going to ask during the interview. The next document that I used was something that I got from the class that I was in last semester. So the professor uploaded a list of questions that were possible questions that I could be asked during the interview, as well as questions that I could ask the faculty and staff and interns. So I'll show you what that document looks like right now. Okay, so these are some of the questions that I went through, and I wanted to make sure that I would be able to have an answer for them. So if you guys are interested, I can include a link to this document. Just let me know down in the comment section below. But these are some things that I wanted to keep in mind for myself and to prepare me, such as what are my personal strengths and weaknesses and my personal clinical strengths and weaknesses. This was important because I was asked these questions, and you know, it's helpful to be reflective beforehand and not on the spot, so you're not struggling to answer a question. So these are some questions that I could have asked, and down here are the questions that I could ask the faculty. And so I used some of these questions on another document that I had created, which I'm going to show you guys right after to prepare me for my actual interviews. But these are the questions that I got them from. So this document is where I got my questions from to help me in my interview, just so I could make most use of my time and be prepared. So So as I just mentioned, I created my own document for preparation the day of my interview. So I'll show you what that one looks like next. All right, on this document, I use one document for all my interviews. So each site had their own page. And at the top, I would write the name of the site and the date and time of my interview. Right here for this section where it says why I chose this site, this is where my pros and cons document comes into play. So I would copy the pros column and paste it here for reasons why I chose a site. And this was the first question that I would get asked on the interviews. So that's a good section to prepare yourself to answer for. I also had a section for specific questions for each site, and then general questions that I would ask all of the sites. So these are some of the questions that I was concerned about that I got from the document that I just showed you. And down here were the questions that I asked the interns of each site that I met with. And at the end of the interview, I rated how I felt about the site and the vibe that I got at the end out of 5. So that's pretty much how I use this document, and I would take notes during the interview. And if there were any other questions that I had, I made sure to write my notes on this document as well. And then once this was done at the end of the interview, I would go back to my pros and cons document and update that. So I'll show you an example of like what an update might look like. So I'll pick one of the sites. So for here, site number 9, I indicate this is what I found out after the interview. So I make sure that I'll update this pros and cons because I re-ranked my sites after I interviewed with them. So this document is what I use to interview. Sorry, this is the document that I used to rank my sites initially, so I knew which ones were my top choice. And then after the interview, I updated the document again so I could rank them for the final ranking that I have to submit. Okay, so these documents work together. I highly suggest you creating one to help you during your interview. So there's another document that a friend sent me that she used to rank her sites objectively. So I'm going to show you guys that as well. It was very helpful for me, and it pretty much just reinforced how I had been ranking the sites using my own pros and cons, but it was more of an objective way. And I can also like include like a template for that down below if you guys are interested. Just let me know in the comment section. Otherwise, you know, it might not be there, or you know, maybe your girl might include it just to be nice and do the extra work for someone who wanted. Just be like, it'll be in the description box. Okay, so I'm going to show you what that other ranking document looked like, which helped me to finalize and determine how I ranked my sites in the national matching system website. Okay, so let's show that one right now. Okay, so as you can see right here in this left column are the criteria that I use to rank each site. And as you can see, these top 3 right here correspond to the training goals that I have. These 2 right here correlate to the frequency of individual therapy, and I was looking to see if weekly sessions are offered. Also, if there are any limits to the number of sessions students are allowed per semester or school year, whether the site has flexibility in the training where I'm able to tailor my experience to the goals that I'm trying to reach, as well as insurance, diversity of students and staff, the types of groups that are offered, and how I felt after the interview and open house meetings that I attended. This section right here is the weight column, and so each criteria has its own weight, and if I feel like it is more important, then I will weigh it a little heavier, like these sections up here. And then I'll have the sites here, and right here is how I rank them. So I use a scale of 1 to 5, and then when I add in how I'm ranking each site based on this criteria, it will automatically do the totals down here for me. So this is a very helpful document and helping me to make my rankings objective. So if you want to have more of a balance to your subjective rankings, I highly recommend this, and I'm so grateful for my friend for sharing this document with me. All right, so all of these documents were very helpful for me and hopefully they'll be helpful for you as well. This is not something you have to do, but it was very helpful for me. And you might be wanting like tips on how to be in the actual interview. One thing that I would suggest is just be yourself. Make sure that you're showcasing your personality. Smile, you know, try to feel as comfortable as you can possibly be. They're gonna expect you to be anxious, but you also want to showcase the best parts of you. You already have the knowledge, you already have the clinical experience that got you to the interview. They just want to see how you're applying that, and they also want to see how you would be a good fit for their program. Not just with like the goals and the experience you have, but how you would get along with staff and how you would interact with others. So make sure that you bring you to your interview, and that's pretty much like the biggest thing that I would suggest. If you're not new to the channel, then you guys know that I'm involved in the interview process for my graduate program. So I volunteer, and I have a video about what that's like. I can link that up above. Being like an admissions interviewer, but that's a big thing that they're looking for. They want to see like your interpersonal style, how you are as a person. So make sure that you bring your personality to the interview. And that's pretty much what I did. Before every interview, obviously I did all these things, but I prayed, I asked for, you know, peace. I made sure that I smiled. I looked directly into the camera, so it looked like I was looking them in their eyes. Was what I had to do because they're all virtual. And I just made sure that I was being me, and I could let, you know, pieces of me pop out. So, you know, my humor, things that I enjoy doing when they asked me about it. And that's pretty much what I would suggest to you guys. So don't overthink it. You know, you have it. The reason why you have the interview with them is because they saw potential in you. They saw you as a good candidate, and they want to see how you are in person, so to speak. So if you guys found this video to be helpful, let me know down in the comments and what other kind of videos you would like to know. As you can see, I did try to keep the sites confidential right now. Don't really want to share how I'm ranking them because it's not official, and that goes against like the guidelines and the policies, and you know your girl don't want to get fined, okay? I don't want to get fined. So I'll probably share with you the sites that I interviewed with, like specifically. I already told you guys what states they're in, but I'll speak more about like the actual sites that I interviewed maybe later. And you guys can expect my little match day reaction, which will be coming in February on match day. So, you know, pray for your girl. I'm trying not to be worried about this, you know. I'm gonna activate my faith, and I don't believe that God brought me this far for me to just fail, you know. So, you know, just still pray for your girl. Still pray for your girl that I match with any of these sites. They're all great sites. But yes, I'm so excited. Thank you guys for watching this video, and if you made it this far, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. And you know, if you watched the video this far and you're not subscribed, I don't know why you would do such a thing, but just go ahead, subscribe, you know, like the video, share my content, explore, follow me on this journey to getting my doctorate, and follow me on IG because your girl posts on there. I post in the stories, so if you're following me on IG, then you see some of these updates a little bit quicker, and then you see your girl and her little looks that she do. You see girl got her hair is at whatever, you know, your hair is late and whatever, but you know your girl stay on IG, so just follow me on there. All the social medias in the description box down below. Take action on using the documents that I'm sharing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.